Today we are with Retro Finance, and as you can see, everybody look relatively happy, which means they're in Palm Beach rather than in the big city here. And our discussion today is about a firm that's a true leader in the fitness industry, operating 175 different clubs in development across 9 different states, which is remarkable. We'll talk about BlackRock, that I know just joined as a major investor, which is a very big deal. And your entire model and your competition and the growth you've seen and where you are today. So just a couple of words about who we have with us today. So Andrew is the CEO who had many years in Starbucks as one of the top management of Starbucks. So it'll be interesting also to hear your views about your entire experience there. Now he's the CEO of Retro Finance, enjoyed an impressive 16 years with Starbucks. Wow. And I once interviewed the founder of Second Cup that claims that before you guys came, they were the #1 brand, and you guys just messed it up for them completely. Joining in the late 90s, he rose to Senior Vice President, US Business in Starbucks, ultimately accountable for over $3.6 billion or 5 in revenue. Mark Andrews, Chief Development Officer, spent 7 years with Planet Fitness, helped in leading franchise sales and development, building Planet Fitness into what you see today. Mark has played a key role in the expansion of the company into emerging markets and transitioned the sales model from offering single multi-units to offering territory exclusive area development agreements with both hands-on and hands-off investor options. Finally, the COO of the company that just joined this morning, Todd, I'll let you give us a couple of words about yourself.
Sure. Well, thank you so much. It's great to be here. I actually come from the hotel industry originally. Grew up in the hospitality industry, working for Marriott Hotels as a young man, and then eventually landed with a company named Omni Hotels. I became Senior Vice President, worked my way up to Senior Vice President of Operations for Omni Hotels, running the locations across North America. The owner of Omni Hotels ended up buying Gold's Gym, which is how I moved over to the fitness space later in my career. Helped grow Gold's Gym from 25 corporate locations to 125 corporate locations, recruited away by the first private equity group to come into Planet Fitness. Joined that group when they had 15 locations, grew that to 101 locations in 6 states and 2 countries. Was the largest franchisee for about 2.5 years, and the second largest franchisee for my second 2.5 years. Was able to take my chips off the table since I lived in West Palm Beach and the job was in Connecticut. Andrew Alfano was hired as the CEO in April, moved the organization to West Palm Beach. Just fortunate to be able to be connected to Andrew, and he and I then, I joined the company in August as one of the first executives that he had brought on, and have been excited to be on this transformational journey with him.
Thank you. And just before we dive into some questions that I have here, maybe just to talk about the industry itself, just to explain to those who are not familiar, high value, low price fitness space. What does that really mean? Who's the real competition there? Who would you consider a high price fitness center versus the lower ones?
Sure, I'll take that. And thank you very much, Denny. First, I apologize to everybody for my voice. I'm battling a little laryngitis, so we're going to tag team on some of these questions. As Todd shared, and as certainly Denny shared, I joined in 2019. There was a strategic leadership change in the company. I came in to restructure the organization, to transform the brand. And exactly to your question, one of the things I went through was my own diligence as to why would I want to join an industry that seems on the surface very crowded. So in learning a lot about the industry, very quickly, what you figure out is it's not a very crowded space at all. There are 4 very distinct segments within the industry. So the first segment is the boutique. That would be the Orange Theories, SoulCycle, Pilates of the world. Very one-dimensional, very expensive. And the good news for us is that most people that have a membership there also have a gym membership. So not only are they not competition, we actually like those guys. The second quadrant would be the high value, high price. That would be your Equinox gyms. Denny, that's probably a type of gym that you would belong to, a country club gym, very expensive. They don't sweat there, they perspire, as we like to say. Their customers don't even talk to our customers. So they're not in our segment. The third segment is the interesting one. These are the big box gyms. These are your LA Fitnesses, your Gold, your 24-hour, your Town Sports, New York sports clubs. And in doing diligence on the industry, what the experts said, if there was ever going to be an economic correction of any kind, this would be the sector that would be impacted the most. Their carry cost is very high because of the size boxes they have. They're not the high price guys, they're not the low price guys, they play in the middle. And as subsequently during the pandemic, 24-hour filed bankruptcy, Gold's filed bankruptcy, New York sports clubs filed bankruptcy. So the premonition came to pass, if you will. And then you have the fourth sector, and that's the sector that we play in. And clearly, high value, low price, Planet Fitness would arguably be the big gorilla in that ring. We're going to talk a little bit today about the points of differentiation. I think you'll see very quickly that we offer a very different, compelling offer, not only to our members, but also to our investors, which is why we're on this call here today. Crunch is number 2 in that sector. They have dramatically changed their go-to-market approach. They historically have been on the smaller box size. They are now building much bigger boxes. I don't know their strategy, arguably to compete with the big box guys, but they're building 40, 50, 60,000 square foot gyms. We don't like going that big. We like to mitigate risk. We actually have our box size is 15 to 18,000 square feet. And then a la Starbucks, if that community needs more retro fitness, we'll build another one on the other side of town and we'll squeeze versus going with the big boxes. But we are the 3rd largest in high value, low price. Our pricing model is $19.99 to $29.99, very competitive, very much in line with the leader in that space. And we have just finished coming out of the pandemic extremely healthy. And to your point, I appreciate the acknowledgement of it. We just closed the biggest deal in the history of our company with the largest asset manager in the world, BlackRock, and their Impact Opportunities Fund. They came in, they purchased initially 3 separate area development agreements with a minimum commitment of doing 65 clubs. And a month later, they came back, recognizing the size of the prize and the journey that we're on. They bought a 4th area development agreement with a minimum commitment to do an additional 15. They have 80 clubs in the pipeline with a goal to deliver more than 100 with retro fitness. They only play on the franchisee side. They do not have any investment in the franchisor. That's a question that we get regularly. So for the investors that are on the call, we are very well capitalized. We have a family office, which is the majority ownership group. We have a second owner, which is the founder. He was the former CEO. He is not in the day-to-day business at all, completely removed from day-to-day. And then I am the 3rd owner of the business. So it's always important to know who you're talking to. So not only am I the CEO, but I obviously have skin in the game, which is really important. In doing diligence on the industry, going back to your question, one of the things I came to learn was not only is it quickly segmented into 4 groups, but everybody that's been in the industry has been in the industry forever. So you have people that have been here for 25, 30 years in the industry. So what you have out there is a lot of sea of sameness. They all use the same vendors. They all use the same software. What you see is they all have the same offerings. And when I joined, I come from Starbucks, as you mentioned, 16 years. It was a great opportunity. It was the heyday, joining them in the late 90s and building them into, when I left, they were the 5th most recognizable brand in the world. So I'm a brand guy. I mean, obviously we scale business. Todd has scaled business. Mark has scaled business. We'll talk about the executive team. But when I got here in the industry, more than just driving members to a club, I really wanted to understand and better focus on consumer engagement with a brand, being a brand guy. So what we did in part of the restructuring and the transformation, we really focused heavily on what we were going to do as it relates to brand. And part of that is when people join a gym, they typically use the gym on average about 3 to 4 hours a week. But if you're into a healthy lifestyle, that's happening all the time. So that is really where we put our focus. Obviously, driving members, attaining members, retaining members, that is our top priority. That is the core business. But what we'll talk about today is our halo around the brand that focuses on a number of other amenities that really create significant points of differentiation between us and the competition. And it's a journey that we're very proud to share.
And how did COVID really affected the space in general? I mean, obviously during COVID, places were shut down for a while. I mean, nothing anybody could do about it. But now that people get out of that, do they have more? I mean, after they've been stuck at homes, do you see more people coming out to be healthy? People are more aware. I mean, in the industry as a whole.
Sure, it's a great question. So it's kind of twofold. So one, we joined again in 2019, came in here. We had a 2-year strategic plan to invest into the organization, the restructuring. So pandemic or otherwise, we were leaning in and investing as part of the transformation, delivering tools, resources, and support. So we had capital set aside to actually invest into the organization. Others in the industry, they were living large. And in many ways, they were probably getting over their skis. They were driving their development and building bigger boxes. And what happened, the pandemic hit. Nobody could have forecasted the pandemic. Nobody anticipated zero revenue on their balance sheet. That's just the reality of it is. But for us, because we were in a restructuring mode, we were already looking to clean up the bottom. So the pandemic, in many ways, in a franchise system, as we were looking to clean up the bottom, as we were looking to invest into the organization, the pandemic actually helped Retro Fitness because we had set this time aside to go through a restructuring. Others were forced into a restructuring. They were dealing with crisis management, an unanticipated COVID pandemic wave that actually shuttered 22% of the industry. And as I already shared, a number of the big box guys filed bankruptcy. We came out of the pandemic extremely healthy. And actually, that is when we got the deal with BlackRock done. So not only is the industry doing very well coming out of pandemic, if the pandemic did anything, and I hope everybody on the call, they did well with their families as best one could during the pandemic. But if the pandemic did anything, it shined an incredible light on all the unhealthy behaviors the country has adopted in the years. And the weight gain of people throughout the last 2.5 years is very well documented. So in many ways for the industry, certainly for Retro Fitness, the pandemic might have been the best commercial we have ever had. So I don't mean to be flippant but a little levity as relates there. So I hope during this call for investors, they hear why fitness is an industry to invest in, why now, and then ultimately why Retro Fitness. And when you think about if you're a private equity or family office or otherwise, really what you want to do is you want to look for an industry that's about to take off. And if you think about the different industries that historically have been very franchisee favorable, well, you want to stay far away from the restaurant sector right now. They're going through a major transformation of their own, their labor model, their margins, minimum wage, supply chain, and then how people are eating has changed dramatically as well. They want it from the farm. They want you to bring it to them, the Uber Eats, the delivery dudes, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to shake out fine, but that's probably an industry that is not one you want to dive into just now. And then another industry that was also very investor friendly historically has been retail. Well, anything that is impacted by Amazon for right now is another industry that you want to stay away from. So you quickly get down to only a few industries that are really about the hockey stick on the upswing. And the health and fitness industry is absolutely coming out of a global pandemic with the well-documented weight gain and all the unhealthy behaviors that has been, again, shined a light on. This makes this industry extremely attractive. And then why now is, part of that is people need to get healthier. So prior to the pandemic, the country was 71.6% overweight or obese. 3 out of every 4 people were overweight or obese prior to the pandemic. That is really what clogged the hospitals. So whether the states have to step in or the federal government has to step in, very similar to years ago when there was the campaign on smoking, you weren't getting health insurance at some point. It became a question on your health. Do you smoke? Well, the question that is now going to be is weight and weight gain, because that is what clogged the hospitals, not COVID. And specifically, the weight gain leads to all of the other health crises that we have out there. So this is an industry that in many ways, health clubs, we really see can be and will be an extension of healthcare and is absolutely necessity, and an industry that everybody should consider investing in.
And I think you're right that I don't remember a time where being aware of the importance of being healthy has been so high. In New York, always, it's a city where people walk everywhere, and you only see lines to the places that sell lettuce in different ways, in different forms. And then when you go to LA, you mentioned smoking, and when I was there a couple of months ago, and I was looking at the menu and I asked, what do you got? And she gave me a list of the salad, and then I said, oh, you also have a burger. And she gave me a look of, yeah, we also have a burger if that's what you want. But and you cannot
burger shaming in LA.
in LA you cannot even smoke in Beverly Hills outside. Forget inside. So anyway, let's now dive into what you guys are doing. So maybe describe a little bit your vision for Retro Fitness.
Sure. As I shared, I came here very intentionally to restructure and transform the brand, but more importantly, really wanted to build a brand with a purpose, well beyond just the brick and mortar. As I shared, consumer engagement with a brand, that is really what is going to create points of differentiation, not just for our members, but also for our investors. So that is really the big focus that we have, building a company with a purpose. We'll talk a little bit about our Project Lift initiative, how we give back. At the end of the day, more than just brick and mortar, we really are focused on helping people live their best lives. It's an entirely different approach that we are taking here at Retro Fitness versus others in the industry.
And what have you done to transform really the brand, as you say, to support your vision?
Sure. One of the very first things we did, and I'm going to let Todd and Mark jump in on this as well, so I can recapture some of my voice. But first and foremost, as a franchise system, coming in, understanding that we had a restructure, we focused on one thing and one thing only, and excuse me, and that was being a world-class franchisor. So fitness or otherwise, we focused on what can we do dramatically different that nobody else in franchising is doing. And some of those things is we developed a full suite of services, which I'm going to allow Todd to talk a little bit about. And then from a member perspective, I touched on it a little bit because it's going to be twofold, right? You got to have high member satisfaction and engagement to help drive revenue and profitability. And subsequently, for the investor, you have to have a compelling investor opportunity, and the high engagement with our members obviously helps them drive revenue and profitability. And Todd, maybe you can talk a little bit about our suite of services, both for the investors, but then also perhaps some points of differentiation that we have for our members.
Thank you, Andrew. So I think, when we first got here, there was a lot to do, obviously. So some of the first things that we did was, we had 2 filters that we were kind of working through. Becoming the best franchisor that you can possibly be, but we were going to drive franchisee satisfaction and revenue and profitability. So those 2 filters assisted us in making some really strategic decisions early on that if they didn't pass through those 2 filters, we were going to stop doing it. And so that just took a lot of the things, put it off to the side for us. First and foremost, we needed to stabilize our system. So changing span and control and bringing on more franchise business coaches so that they could have less clubs that they could be in and be involved in more. So we took that span of control and cut it in about half. So they went down to around 10 clubs from 25 to 30 is kind of where they were at. And they provided better service. Then we locked down the ABC system and took control of all the rate plans. when we arrived, there was 247 rate plans here. Today, there's 3. So we went into more of a rational pricing mode, changed some of that. And then we decided, we needed to change the look and feel of what our clubs look like. We happen to have a world-class designer who is a franchisee of ours named Rudy Fabiano. And we engaged Rudy and came up with RF21, which is our newest version of retro fitness. The first 2 have been built down here in Florida, one in Tamarack and one in Wellington. The third is under construction in Cambridge, Massachusetts. But we're really excited. Some of the imagery you see in our background are images of what the new club kind of looks like. But one of the bigger differentiators as we were on this path is, how are we going to help franchisees along the journey so that they don't get lost? And as a large franchisee of Planet Fitness, I would tell you, I had to have an extravagant organization in order to scale appropriately and be a strong developer. And so we provide those type of services now to the franchisees. So we do all of your real estate. We do the lease negotiations, get it to the point where we're ready to hand it over to you. We do all of the construction, turnkey, from start to finish. We build your club completely out for you, which is unheard of. We have financial services then that the franchisee utilizes through Retro Fitness. We do your books each month. We have a marketing arm that 63% of all of our franchisees currently use today, and it's a voluntary system. So we are pretty much the experts in digital marketing, we believe, for the brand, and we can do it cheaper and provide more leads than you would normally get. We also have a call center that we provide. So leads being followed up on is an easy task, doesn't take the labor every day that it does in a normal. Can come in and manage your assets for you for a predetermined amount of time or during the entire, as an opportunity for you to be a true turnkey type of investor with us. And so those are really, really unique services provided by a franchisor, especially in this industry. I know all of brands, as I'm sure you do, and none of them are providing the services that we are.
And can we talk briefly about your products and services?
You'll have some investors that already come with infrastructure, which is wonderful as we do area development. But then clearly, many in the investor community, the biggest challenge that they have is they want to get involved in the very lucrative, high value, low price fitness space, but they're not operators. They want to write a check. So the fact that we for management services, that is a very appealing opportunity for people to get into the space, a space that we have the most white space out there than anybody else in high value, low price. And the fact that we would do all of those services, including manager operations, that is a significant point of differentiation and a great opportunity for investors to get involved. The other thing that we did as part of the transformation of the brand is our entire vendor pool is different. As I shared, people that have been in the industry, all these other companies, and this is no slight. So when you think about the very first deal that we did, we didn't do it with a mom and pop organization. The very first major deal we did was BlackRock, the largest asset manager. We have brought on to do our real estate CBRE, the largest real estate firm in the world. We are bringing on Edelman Marketing and PR, the largest PR firm in the world. The focus we have on healthy cooking, we have a partnership with Culinary Institute of America, an alumni chef, the #1 cooking school in the world. So these are world-class partnerships. We are very careful who we partner with, not only from a vendor perspective, but also who we bring into the system as investors. We're really looking for good business partners. As everybody knows on this call, there's a lot of capital out there. There's a lot of money out there. It doesn't make you a good business partner. So we are very, very particular about who we bring into the system to help us grow as we build out this brand.
Any products and services we didn't discuss that we'd like to elaborate on?
Well, I mean, Todd did a wonderful job talking about our full suite of services. Mark, maybe you want to talk a little bit about our member offerings, because I think what we offer in high value, low price, and again, not a disparaging comment on the others, But we truly do offer the high value in that, in that phrase of high value, low price. Others that play in this space, again, they've done a wonderful job with their brands, but I would consider them more low value, low price. And for the same price offering, we offer far more. Mark, if you could share a little bit.
Sure. One of the things I would say is, our member is certainly a more active member than, the big gorilla in the room in high value, low price, which is Planet Fitness. Our members, to Andrew's point, are typically in the gym 3.5 to 4.5 hours per week. At Planet, that might be per month. So their member offering is significantly different than ours. They really cater to a first-time gym goer. They do a great job of getting people off the couch, where our members are certainly a little bit more active, a little younger. They're there more often. They spend more money. Therefore, the offerings and the amenities that we have in the gym are much different. Our weight, you can use a squat rack and a bench press at a Retro Fitness, and you will struggle to do that at a Planet. They focus a lot on cardio. We certainly focus more on weight. They do not offer any group classes at all, and no personal training. Those are two huge levers of ours, financial levers, and Todd will be one to tell you, he was in that system for a long time. When times get tough, when the economy's down, when minimum wage is rising, they don't have any levers to pull over there to combat that. Some of those unknowns that can pop up, whereas we have a smoothie bar. And we have personal training, which our clubs that do a good job in personal training can bring in another $25,000 to $50,000 per month. And we have several ways that we can attack personal training. Smoothie bars, our best smoothie bar, our best franchisee in the smoothie world this year did over $200,000 in smoothies this past year. So it's a huge, again, for that active member that's in every day, becomes part of their routine. And then again, personal training and then group classes. Over at Planet Fitness, they don't offer group classes. Our ultimate membership, which is in line with their Black Card membership, gives you unlimited group classes. So we'll have the studio for your yoga, your Zumba, your spin, and those are all things that we offer that they don't, for a very similar price. Outside of that, Andrew mentioned our brand Halo, which is an internal term that we use, but those are the ways that we engage with the members outside of the four walls. So we have through our app, a la Hulu, seasons and episodes of Healthy Cooking, Culinary Institute of America's alumni chef, Elizabeth Bakos. We have healthy mental health tips. So we have several experts that are offering that content as well. And of course, nutritional tips and things of that nature. So really doing a lot to engage with our members outside of the four walls, not just inside the four walls.
And do you see, let's talk about the industry and what's going on right now. Any headwinds from inflation and potential recession for the fitness industry, and in particular, Retro Fitness?
Well, I mean, the fitness industry, because there are different segments, absolutely. So if you want to, well, I'll say it this way. The experts would tell you if there's going to be an economic correction of any kind, whether we're going to be in a recession or otherwise, an economic correction of any kind, the high value, low price space is hands down the sector that you want to be in. It is well documented that this is the sector of the industry that weathers those storms. The areas you wouldn't want to be in are one-dimensional type of offerings that are very high priced. You're unlikely to give up your $19.99 monthly membership at a Retro Fitness. Matter of fact, it becomes extremely attractive during these times, especially if you're looking for the group classes, you're looking for the personal training, you're looking for the high value aspects. You can easily give up one of your boutique memberships, and for a fraction of the price, you get to join Retro Fitness for either $19.99 or $29.99, and you have all the offerings, again, focusing very hard on creating a compelling member offering. So the industry, yes, I think there is some potential headwinds, but it does not exist, in my opinion, Max, is the exact opposite in the high value, low price sector.
I understand. Now, moving on to ask you, what are your full suite of services, and how does that improve the investor experience and unit performance?
Sure, I'll just touch on it briefly. I think Todd did a great job already explaining some of it. But one of the very first things that I shared, we really focused on being a world-class franchisor, and we want to make sure we create and invest in a compelling investor opportunity. So fitness or otherwise, we offer more than most people, if everybody, in franchising. We do all the real estate, we do all the lease negotiation, we do all the construction, delivering a turnkey box, as Todd shared. Now, there's a distinct reason why we do that. We do that to make sure that we are going to A locations. And part of our strategy going forward is, in the event that we want to do a buyback in some capacity, we want to make sure that we're buying back the real estate that we like, we're buying back the lease that we negotiated, and we're buying back the club that we built and developed. So there's a very inherent, and by the way, that's also for an investor as they look for exit strategies. Okay, so what is an opportunity for us at some point, whether I'm looking for a 5-year horizon or otherwise, what does an exit potentially look like? It could be right back to the franchisor. In addition to that, we do all the training. We have an in-house media agency. Again, not to elongate what Todd had already shared, but I think what we offer, nobody else is offering, certainly in fitness and franchising or otherwise.
Now, what's your forecast on investor growth? From what type of investors and why?
Sure. So part of the restructuring and part of the transformation, like most franchise systems, the company was built on the individual franchisee. Your first franchisee, you were probably ecstatic just to have somebody invest in your business. Hopefully your 21st franchisee looked very different than your first. Your 51st looked very different than your 21st. But the way this company was built, it was built on the mom and pops. It was built on the individual franchisees. We're very proud today, over 50% or about 50% of the system is a multi-unit franchisee, but we have moved away from the individual mom and pop franchisee. And the way that we are going to scale this brand, and everybody on my executive team, they not only came from big company, but they helped build these big companies, which is a completely different skill set. So as we look to scale the company, what we're looking to do is attract private equity, family offices, high net worth individuals, and we are really focused on area development. We are no longer selling individual franchisees. The mom and pop cannot come in and buy one franchise. We're looking for people to come into our infill markets. Our infill markets are New York, New Jersey. We have a lot. That's where the brand was birthed back in 2005. And we are looking for people to come in and acquire existing. They want to come in and they want to do one, but we're really looking for a commitment that very quickly down the road, they're either building more to create that infill, or they're going to be acquiring some others to help some people exit the system that aren't necessarily ready to mature with the brand the way the brand is ready to mature. That's the infill strategy. And then we have our emerging market strategy. We have very specific markets that we're looking to target as phase one. BlackRock is definitely a big part of that. They have bought an area development agreement in Southeast Florida, Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston. We're looking to bring the East Coast all the way down from the Northeast down through the Mid-Atlantic into the Southeast. We're looking to connect that. Texas obviously is a big part, so South Central, and then the Midwest those are our target markets. But if we have a private investor, private equity, family office that says, hey, we'd love to go to Tennessee, even though that's not in our phase one emerging market strategy, high value, low price absolutely plays across the country, depending on what their appetite was and their strategic investment strategy is. We could absolutely have a conversation about a market that isn't necessarily phase one for us, but it might become a priority based off of an investor that comes to the table. We obviously have our Project Lift initiative, which we will talk about. And then we are already talking with international investors to go overseas. We think that'll happen in the next 12 to 18 months. No question. My last two companies, I've taken them across the pond, so to speak, and we will absolutely be doing that here as well.
And you have anything in Canada or not yet?
We don't. Are you interested?
No, I'm just saying they look healthy to me, many of them. So I guess they take it seriously.
Sure, absolutely. Listen, Toronto is an extension of New York. So we love that whole area. And then clearly Vancouver, those are two great markets that we would be very interested in. Matter of fact, Vancouver was the second market we went to at Starbucks right after Seattle. or outside of the US, I should say.
We are very strong in Canada. I can introduce you to the guy from Second Cup that's still mad at what you've done to them.
Still mad at me?
I mean, yeah, you just took them to I think 15% of the market that they had as their own. I see some people raising hands. We don't do raising hands, basically because I don't know how to technically do that. So just write us a question if you have. Now you mentioned Lift, so let's talk about that.
Sure.
The special program, Project Lift, how those fit into the company with the mission, standard, and what's that all about?
Sure. So as I shared, coming to Retro Fitness, this was not going to be about winning at all costs. This is not a short-term opportunity. This is the long game for us. And I wanted to build a company with a purpose. And if you think about Starbucks, not only did we build a formidable coffee company, but really what we did, we built a brand with a purpose. Starbucks is really known for giving back. And when the pandemic hit, it really collided with the transformation in a positive way that we were going through here at Retro Fitness. So as I was working with state leaders, as I was working with their health departments, as I was working with CDC, one of the things that we learned very quickly, in addition to what was obvious to everybody, is that the Black and brown communities own the #1 and #2 spot in almost every unfavorable health category. And that is a direct correlation to being overweight or obese. This is not class warfare. This is not inner city. This is not underserved communities. This is the Black and brown communities as a whole. So when I thought about what we had at our disposal in the form of exercise, health, and fitness, and wanting to give back and wanting to have a North Star and wanting to have a mission and a purpose, the team and I, we came up with Project Lift. And Project Lift it's a very simple initiative. We want to build 500 Project Lift locations in 50 Black and brown communities across the country, 500 of those clubs over the next 5 years. So BlackRock, they came in under the Project Lift initiative. So Larry Fink himself, he created the Impact Opportunities Fund over in BlackRock. And they did a lot of diligence, not only on Retro Fitness, but a lot of diligence on Project Lift. And they are committed. Those are the area development agreements under Project Lift. And what we are looking to do is incentivize investors to take this journey with us. So we can talk about the incentives that we have for investors to do this. And what we're doing is we are going to be engaging in these communities. And again, this is not an inner city program. This is not an underserved community program. Rather, this is about giving back to Black and brown communities. But what we're doing as the franchisor is something that no other company, big or small, is doing. So what we're doing is not only are we going to these communities, but we really believe strongly it's about engaging in these communities in a very positive way. It's not just about stroking a check, you're posting it on social media, you're patting yourself on the back for making the donation, and you're never to be heard from again. We want to engage in these communities and truly give back. So we are, as the franchisor, giving a percentage of our royalty back to a mutually agreed upon organization in those communities for the entire life of the business and truly engaging. So if those businesses, if these health clubs go 10, 15, 20 years, for the entire life of these businesses, we are donating back to a mutually agreed upon organization in these communities to truly give back. We're opening up the health clubs to the entire community on Friday evenings to better educate them on healthy cooking, nutrition, mental health. Again, we want to help people live their best lives and truly giving back. So we have right now 80 Project Lift clubs with a goal to do 100. So our goal of 500 Project Lift locations, when you think about it, we already have the commitment for 100. I need 4 more BlackRocks. And suddenly getting to 500 doesn't seem so insurmountable. Nobody would argue that this initiative is not extremely beneficial. Giving back to these communities is not going to get old anytime soon. Matter of fact, it's not only a feel-good program, it is a do-good program, and we've been getting a lot of attention. Matter of fact, I just made a joint announcement. It was a joint press conference with Ron DeSantis. He came to our office to make this announcement with me. We just spoke with the mayor's office in New York to talk about Project Lift. And obviously, when you have a company like BlackRock investing in you, the line starts to form at the door. So we're very proud. Hope you can feel my passion coming through about Project Lift. It is important to note, though, Project Lift is not who we are, it is what we do. So retro fitness and building world-class health clubs is what we do. Project Lift is an initiative underneath of that, but it is our North Star, and we really look forward to talking more about the impact that we're going to be making in these communities.
Amazing. By the way, I see somebody's asking about can we open a franchise in Africa and Asia? We will send the contact information of you guys later on. So anything at all, any questions, you could refer directly to the team here. It's very impressive, especially impressive that you managed to convince me that the coffee can be worth $8. One of the things that whenever I go to Starbucks, I'm like, did I pay that just now? I mean, for that? And yet it works. It's no, I'm kidding. It works. It's amazing. When I saw Starbucks first, when it started, I was like, duh. I mean, how come nobody thought about this before? A place that's cozy, gives you coffee, gives you good internet, you can work. I mean, it's so obvious. It's not, I mean, but anyway. So
well, if you're in New York, that's where I started. So when I got to New York, I was a district manager overseeing 10 locations. And about the time I left 16 years later, I was senior vice president, as you mentioned, overseeing 10,000 locations or supporting 10,000 locations. But I built out all of New York. So if you happen to see one on one of the corners by coincidence, just know it was probably mine if it was built before 2015. When I got there, I want to say there was only 30 or 40 in the entire Northeast. So
most of our sessions we do from Rye, and as you may know, Rye has a Starbucks that everybody go to. That's where everybody.
Those are mine.
You don't want to be there when the kids finish school at 2 o'clock because you just don't want to be there. It's like everybody's there.
I still have a lot of reasons for you to go there, so thank you.
Yeah, I love it. Listen, I have my card, I have everything. I'm a good client. As it relates to investors, are there any programs you have in addition to Project Lift that you feel are beneficial and we should talk about?
Sure. So I think, again, what we offer in the form of services is one of the biggest compelling reasons investors should be very interested in talking to us at Retro Fitness. We obviously have Project Lift. Project Lift, we do have a number of incentives that we are offering investors because we think so highly of the initiative. So we are waiving our franchise fees on all these clubs. We're also waiving, not deferring 50% of year one royalties. That's on the Project Lift initiative. And we also have a veterans program. So again, giving back, having a company with a heart, a company with a mission, a company with a purpose. So very similarly, veterans is another group that we are looking to support, help them re-engage in the communities, help them get their businesses underway. And we have very similar incentives that we're offering them. And again, because we have management agreements, and we also have, which is something we didn't talk about, we have also identified operators that are in our system that we want to see grow in the system. As I mentioned, we're not necessarily looking for capital. Capital is almost the easy part. We're really looking for good business partners. So we have identified strong operators that have been in the system. They know the Retro Fitness system. They know the brand very well. We're very proud of them. And they already have first right of refusal on a number of territories out in the system. So we have a group in upstate New York. It would be Albany across New England. We have another group that is outside the ring of the 5 boroughs, so just outside of New York Metro, or part of New York Metro, I should say, just outside of the boroughs. And we have another group that has first right of refusal on all of Philadelphia, a very, very strong market for high value, low price, which would also be a very strong lift market. And these operators are looking for capital partners. So again, for people on the call that just may be looking, one, they want to get in high value, low price because they recognize this is a very lucrative end of the industry, and it's an industry that's about to take off, but also looking to just write a check. We have operating partners for them as well.
Now, before I'll address one of the questions here from one of our attendees, where do you see the company in the next 5 years?
It's very strong. Listen, we have the most white space out of anybody in high value, low price. And we've already talked about if you want to be in the fitness sector, high value, low prices is really the sector of the industry you want to be in. And having the most white space gives everybody the most opportunity. This is hands down. I've done this for a very long time. I've scaled multiple companies, members of my team, as I shared. This is what we have all done for a very long time. Minimally, this is a 1,000 club system, but very different than rapid growth. We're really about thoughtful growth, right? So not being a public company, I don't have real estate numbers or development schedules I need to hit. Obviously, we have our internal goals, but really making sure that we're going about our growth thoughtfully is most important. And that's really a type of company that you want to attach your wagon to. So this is hands down a 1,000 club system. We see the 500 clubs is going to be minimally project lift. We see traditional area development, minimally 500 clubs, given the white space out there. It does not include international, and it does not include our infill strategy. So we feel very good about the trajectory that we're on, the health of the organization, the health of the high value, low price sector. It's very, very promising.
Very nice. Now, a question here is, what's the offering? What's the minimum investment to get to join you guys?
Sure. So actually, Todd, you want to take that? Just my voice is starting to go here.
Sure.
So maybe the individual unit, but again, we're looking for area developers.
Yeah, so just talking about the individual unit, construction costs, have gone up a little bit, as everybody probably knows, but we're somewhere right around $120 a square foot to build out. That's an approximate amount. Depends on the market that you're in, depends if, the contractor has to be union, all of those type of things. So there's a few things that go into it, but, I would say just, our product, the fitness product, wellness, it's probably the only thing that you could ever get involved in that's never going to fail you if you use it. It's just it's a different type of product. People, come to the gym for a lot of different reasons. There's a social aspect to it, but the positive endorphins that it creates and how you feel when you get done with a workout, very few industries can bring that to you.
But a box size a little bit and how the dollars work out, Todd?
I'm sorry, Andrew?
The average box size and, to complete out.
Yeah, we're 15 to 18,000 square feet. I think Andrew had mentioned that. That's our preference. Doesn't mean that we won't go bigger if the demographics warranted it. And so we stay in that box for a lot of reasons. We want to reduce risk. We want the opportunity to perform at a high level, have a very quick internal rate of return for your money. And we believe that box size gives us that best opportunity. We, on our pricing, we came in, as I mentioned earlier, and kind of shut down the ability for franchisees to just create their own pricing. And our pricing has gone up almost 50% in just mix without changing any price. So we just sold a little differently, changed how we laid it out, and helped default people to the value proposition that they were looking for. And we've been able to really do well in that, with a dues average above $27 per member. And so with that, we take about half as many members that it would take to get to a planet to get to sustainability, to the exact same place that they average at today. And so I think that for a lot of those reasons, keeping the box at that size in today's environment, I think has been a really solid choice for us and has come out really well so far.
And beyond opening a location, one can invest directly in the company.
No.
Or no. So the only way is to go out there and have and open new locations and get to new territories,
Correct.
as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, correct. And that's a question we get pretty regularly from private equity. They want to invest in the franchisor, they want to invest in management, which we take as a tremendous compliment. And a lot of these folks will come back and say, well, geez, we're really not franchisees. And I would tell you, BlackRock's not a franchisee, but they understood the size of the prize. And they came in and they're now our largest franchisee. Matter of fact, they not only did the largest deal here, they did the largest de novo deal in all of fitness history. So it was a monster deal. The other thing investors should consider, in addition to what I believe is a very attractive point of entry that Todd just shared, is in the fitness industry, you have reoccurring revenue, you have a very low labor model, you have no perishable inventory, and we have multiple revenue streams. that is a very, very attractive. I grew up in the hospitality industry like Todd did, and I will tell you, that penny business is a very, very challenging business, whether it be the staffing, the margins, you're working a lot of hours to not produce a lot on the bottom. So our model, we have almost 50% of the system does $1.5 million a year. We have clubs at 2 million. And these things throw off 30% to the bottom. It is a very lucrative model. It's an easy model to run. And then, to what we've already shared with our full suite of services, we do all the training and we'll even run the clubs if that is of interest. But for the investors, I would just say overall, very, very compelling.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, anything else that we'd like to add at this point? I believe I asked the most of what I wanted to. Anything else that you would want to add?
I would just wrap up with one. I appreciate the opportunity, Denny. It was very kind of you to have us on here. We really appreciate it. Hopefully you feel our passion. Hopefully you see the strength of the management team. Hopefully we conveyed why the fitness industry and why now. And I would just say that we would welcome the opportunity to talk to anybody offline. You can reach out to Mark Andrews or directly to Denny. More than happy to send you an investor deck, set up a private call to talk about the opportunities that are out there. But we have, as we opened up the call, 175 clubs open or in development. We are the third largest. We will be the second largest very shortly. And we'd love to talk more offline about this.
And Andrew, you were in Starbucks just before you joined?
No, actually, it's a great question. So I joined them in the late 90s. I exited in 2015. I joined a preschool company of all companies. There was 2 co-founders, and the father was looking to retire and step off. They brought in private equity, Norwest Venture Partners. They brought me on to be the president and COO. They were looking for someone to scale the business and grow the brand. There was 130 locations at the time. They were looking for a 5-year horizon, thinking 6 to 8 times earnings on the way out. And this is a great reason I'm sharing this is because it's very representative of the journey that we're on here. We built the flywheel, we restructured the company, we transformed the brand. And in a very short period of time, today they have 450 open or in development, including overseas. We exited Norwest Venture Partners, not in 5 years. We got them out 2 years early at 3 years, not at 6 to 8 times earnings. We got them out at 18 times earnings. So it's just about how to go about scaling a brand, scaling a business, redefining a brand, building high-performing teams. Once you have that flywheel built, which is something that this management team has done over and over again, that's the outcome. That's the outcome. I will tell you, there was a lot of very happy investors, as you would imagine, at the exit of what was 2 years early.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for being with us today. This has been recorded, and of course, you'll get all the information later on, including those who couldn't attend today. And yeah, I'll just tell our families that, as you may know, we have a hectic month. We've done New York, we've done Chicago 2 days ago, New York last week. On the November 22nd, we're in London. Sherry Blair will be speaking there, and many other prominent European families and American. By the way, Andrew, 7-Eleven, the next gen of 7-Eleven is going to speak in London. So another brand that's all around the place. I think not like you guys managed to be all around the world, but definitely an impressive brand. And finally, we always finish the year where it's fun, most of the year, which is Miami. So we'll be, as we always are, 2 days before Basel. So that's on the 28th. Miami-Dade Mayor will speak there, and many other brilliant speakers, as you can see on our website. And next year, lots is going on, actually. I just mentioned at a conference that I'm not a morning person. You guys have a lot of them in your fitness centers. They make me feel lazy, and therefore I don't like them at all. And I had to wake up early because I needed to go to my conference in New York, and then I had time to think about things. And I realized, really, just then, that we are the largest family office community in the world. We are today in Houston, Dallas, Miami, Chicago, New York, LA soon, Calgary, Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto, London, Tel Aviv, Abu Dhabi, and Dubai, which makes us. And these are annual gatherings. And as some of you know, it's not easy to build a community of family offices. So it's we're very impressed by ourselves. But what I wanted to ask is, I see Scott is asking, how do I contact the company? Scott, we will send the contact information exactly 24 hours from now. We have an automatic email that will include the link to the recording to receive more information for a possible co-investor. So yeah, Scott, you will get the information in case for some reason you don't get the email, just email us and we'll get it for you. But we will send an email to all of you. Yeah.
You can also go right to our website as well, retrofitness.com. And you can, all of our contact information is there as well.
Yeah, so Scott, you can already jump on the website and see the contact information, and you have ours. Yeah, and great. So so thank you very much for being here. And I would love to see you at our hopefully at some of our conferences next year. We have a crazy 2023 coming, and I'll see you soon. By the way, you guys have Starbucks in the UAE? Did you manage to go to that far? I don't remember. I was there. I don't remember if I saw Starbucks in the UAE.
Yes.
Wow, amazing. Well, thank you very much, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care,
Thank you,
everybody.
Danny.
Thank you.
Thank
Danny.
you.
Thanks, guys. I
Appreciate it.
apologize again for the voice. Take care, everybody.
Thanks.